Yo, Still Bills, what's the deal, man? Yo, just dropped my babies off at their grandparents' house, at my parents' house. I'm heading back to the crib, get a few hours to myself without this little girl driving me up the wall, man. But peep game, man, I want to talk about Usyk and everything, Usyk and AJ, the heavyweight division, man. It's just, man, I said it once, I'm gonna say it again, man. AJ was more than likely gonna lose to Usyk again, and he's still gonna have a fan in me, dude. Like, I see a lot of myself in AJ, man. Like, in the sense of just wanting to be cool. You accept defeat. He got that. Just on some real shit, not on no bullshit. Like, if I lose in 2K, I'll drag with the homies or whatever and say some goofy shit. But like, nah, he really thoroughly, he's accepted defeat. He accepted defeat with Andy Ruiz. Even he said, I knew with Andy Ruiz I was gonna get that win back, but this win with Usyk, that one hurt me, because he knows what he's in front of. You dig? It was no point in time in that fight where he was dominant. He was dominant in the first 3 rounds with Andy Ruiz and made a mistake and got punished for it. So the fact that he's going back in this fight, like, yo, it's a different mind state. He's still, but he's trying to turn that savage mode on, but it's hard to do that just if that's just who you are. That's just in your character. You dig? I'm not no tough guy neither, man. That's why I gravitate towards him in the way that I do. He's a gracious loser. He's a gracious winner. It ain't about all that trying to be extra out. He kind of seems like a dude who would avoid a fight, even though there's not too many people on this planet who will be able to deal with him. Like, I don't want no drama, man. I'm good, my nigga. Like, that, I fuck with that because that's honestly how I am. It ain't about being a tough guy. It ain't about being mean and a hurt. Nah, bro. He can be who he is, but as long as he can rediscover that dog, then you could be the nicest guy in the world. But just rediscover that dog. But for that, because that's just his character. I'm a cool dude, motivational speak. I don't too much listen to motivational shit and that, and as it pertains to him. If I need to be enlightened, I'm looking to more, black consciousness, brothers from that paradigm, man, who speak the shit that's sing to my soul. That's who I'm going to. But it's still a level of militancy with those dudes that I listen to, and those women. It's a certain level of militancy with them. For years, I wouldn't even listen to music. I listened to Malcolm X speeches, John Henry Clark speeches and lectures, Khalid Muhammad speeches and lectures. That was just, I was just in that mind state. So I get it, listening to something uplifting and motivating. But the difference between me and him was, it was still a level of militancy in the cats that I was listening to, as opposed to who it is that he's listening to. Kwame Ture was another one. You dig? Those are the cats that I listen to, but it was a level of militancy. That's not necessarily his lane, but I respect it, because it's like, you just want to hear about something uplifting. You want a grimy business where you can kill somebody. You dig? It's like they said in the Haitian Revolution. You gotta, what did they say? You have to have that balance. You gotta know how to heal, because you're gonna go out here and kill. You have to find that counterbalance. So I respect what he's doing. And with him being in that mind state, he's been a 2-time world heavyweight champ, unified world heavyweight champion of the world. I respect him. You dig? So salute to him for that. Salute to him for that, man. And like I said, if he loses to Usyk, he still has a fan in me. If he loses to Usyk, he's still one of the best of this generation. I mean, it's no knock. He's accomplished. He's the most accomplished heavyweight thus far in the division. You dig? The route to undisputed may not go through Usyk. It may go through it. He may have to take an alternative route, and that's all right. You dig? So I'm just, that's. I fuck with AJ, man. I really do. I really fuck with AJ. I really fuck with AJ, man. But Usyk, man, like, I wanna talk about Usyk, and I spoke my piece on the Dillian White and Tyson Fury thing. I think it's corny what they doing. You dig? I just, I hope Eddie Hearn and them I think Eddie Hearn he's trying to win the purse because he's going to dispute this 80-20 split thing that the WBC has mandated, because that's bullshit, even by their own bylaws. So I don't even want to get back into that again. I want to get into Usyk, man, and what Frank Sanchez had to say about it, man. Usyk, Frank Sanchez and was it Larry Holmes? I forget. I forget. But Usyk is, it's not even a question, one of the greatest to ever lace him up, man. Former undisputed cruiserweight champion and is now a unified heavyweight world champion. That automatically puts him up there with some of the baddest motherfuckers who ever laced him up. And not just the accolade, it's the skill set behind what he does. Usyk is genuinely an incredible boxer that I think would have been able to compete with some of the GOATs. He's that skilled. He is an incredible boxer. He is an incredible boxer. So for Frank fucking Sanchez, who ain't done nothing, as skilled as I think Frank Sanchez is, I mean, the best performance I get, you know, he may be one of them niggas where you got to put him in front of somebody that's an imminent threat for him to give the best performance that he can give. Because what we saw out of I didn't see it, but his last fight, I'm not hearing too good. You know, I'm not hearing nobody sing his praises for that last fight. And even the performance that he put on against Efe Ajagba, people are not feeling that, because they like, bro, you a heavyweight. We don't want to see you move eloquently like that. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to open up in combinations. You dig? If you're gonna counter, you gonna walk him into traps. Make sure the shot that you land is something that's sending him back clear, not just scoring shots, but thudding shots that can break something. So it's big. I think I enjoyed his performance against Efe, but it's like, yo, a lot of people didn't. But there's nobody who can say that they didn't enjoy what Usyk did to AJ. So for you to sit here and come off and say he ain't got no skills, I'm like, bro, where are you getting this from? Even Larry Holmes, I think it was Larry Holmes. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive it was Larry Holmes. If I'm wrong, let me know. But even for Larry Holmes to come off and say that shit, it's like, bro, what are y'all talking about? I don't think the heavyweights of this era could compete with the heavyweights of the 80s and the 90s. I honestly don't. It was just a certain level of grit to them dudes, man. It was a certain level of grit. It wasn't all, social media wasn't prevalent, you dig? It was a lot more grimy. Motherfuckers was brawling outside of press conferences and shit. It was just a lot more thorough back then. It's not too much like that, except with a few people. War Chisora is one. Dillian White is a Rough Rider for the most part, but for the most part, them those cats are kind of like throwback dudes. They're kind of throwback dudes. But I don't think that necessarily has to define you neither, man. I don't think that, oh, he's a little bit more grimier, so he's automatically going to win. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. But I think from a skill set standpoint, the skill set within the heavyweight division of the 80s and the 90s, and the caliber of competition that they were facing, it was most definitely higher at that time. To where like bona fide contenders would beat some of the champions today. So for somebody to sit here and tell me Usyk ain't got skill like that, I'm like, man, what are y'all watching? This dude is incredible, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Usyk does this to everybody in the division and fucks around and retires undefeated. And is a two division undisputed world champion. I wouldn't be surprised at that, because that dude is incredible. So where y'all niggas getting off that, oh man, these heavyweights nowadays, like, no, bro, like Anthony Joshua is robotic. Yeah, he is that. But you're not about to sit here and tell me that there's no skill set there. There's certain things that he can polish up on, most definitely. Most definitely. But that dude's power is prevalent. I don't see too many heavyweights throwing step back right hands. I don't see that shit. I don't see that shit. Not Usyk, but Joshua is a dude that's learning on the fly, man. He ain't got no deep amateur pedigree. He was thrown to the wolves. He was fed to the wolves off the rip, and it's been forward, pedal to the metal, full throttle ever since. He's not you know, he's not the dude that he's still learning. He's learning on the job. He's a work in progress. He's a work in progress. And that's cool. As long as by the time you get late, like deep into your career, you're a finished and more developed product. And now my wife is calling me. I'll call her back when I'm done hollering at y'all. So I don't know, man. Even, you know, Tyson Fury, man, like what he was able to do before he hooked up with with Sugar. What he was able to do, man. No heavyweight move like that elusive, to be that big. They didn't do that. You know, dude, there's some legitimate heavyweights in this division right now, bro. It honestly is. It honestly is. And you can't necessarily discard that because they're not the heavyweights of the 80s and the 90s. Anthony Joshua is a really good fighter. He's just an incomplete fighter. But with his level of being incomplete, he's still as accomplished as he is. And he's still learning. I really don't understand how y'all can say what y'all saying about Usyk. I think from a skill set standpoint, Usyk is the baddest man in the division. Nobody is better than Usyk. In raw skills, nobody is better than Usyk. Nobody. I'm not saying that doesn't mean he can't be beat, but on skills, nobody is fucking with him. Nobody. So I don't know, man. I think people get so caught up in just this, oh man, I'm from the old school, man. Like, I had to come out of that shit myself. Like I said, I'm a hip hop head. So for years I stopped listening. I completely isolated myself from these newer rappers. Completely isolated myself. And when I started trying to go out and find and discover these newer newer rappers, I was overly impressed. It's a skill, it's an incline in skill with the dope rappers than it was with the rappers of the past that were, you know, some of the GOATs. That were the GOATs. That doesn't mean that they're better. I think, you know, I don't know, man. Just, you know, just a lot of rappers nowadays, you know, they're able to rap in different cadences and shit like that, and they're able to do more things than a rapper from back in the day was, who was just really extremely solid in what it is that he did, like Nas. You don't think these rappers today with that Nas never rapped like that? He's rapping like that on his new CD. That's from the influence of these, you know, these young heads. So I think you can apply that to any and everything, man. Like, naturally, skill, you know, it evolves. Shit is going to evolve. I think the GOATs from the 80s and the 90s are still the GOATs. Even the 70s, they're still the GOATs. And they can still compete with these cats today. In boxing, I ain't gonna say basketball, no. Basketball, no. Nah, man. But boxing, pugilism, you know, fighting, yeah. So don't sit here and talk that bullshit about Usyk not having no skill set. I don't give a fuck if it's Frank Sanchez, who ain't done shit in the division, or if it's Larry Holmes, the GOAT, you know, one of the greatest jabbers we will ever know. I don't want to hear none of that shit. I don't want to hear none of it, man. Usyk is an incredible talent. Anthony Joshua was an incredible talent. Usyk is just better. But even with him being better, he may not be able to beat, his skill may not be what gets him over the line in his rematch with Anthony Joshua, because the size, you know, it's a huge size disparity. So Joshua may be able to come off on top of that, making him that much better. So I'm saying, man, all in all, just all the salt throwing on these heavyweights today, the goofy shit that's going on within the division. Old niggas need to chill, you dig? Well, Hitman Holla say, let a young nigga shine, sit your old ass down, bro. Like, come on, man. These niggas is on fire, they getting busy. Stop throwing salt, man. Deuces.